So we've got some rather surprising and interesting news to go over here today. Do you remember all the way back in, I think it was 2021, April of 2021, Xiaomi released their folding device, the Xiaomi Mi Mix Fold. It looked something like this. No, it didn't. It looked exactly like this. It was very, very narrow and very, very tall. You've heard myself and a lot of other people maybe complain that the screen, the cover display on the Z Fold is a little too skinny and a little too tall. Well, if that's true here, then it would be like doubly true on the Mix Fold because it is extremely narrow and extremely tall. But it did, some things I think very, very correctly in terms of maybe the specifications. It had a really big battery, a camera setup that on paper should have been really, really solid, and it was kind of a mediocre device. A device that, like I said, did a lot right. It had a desktop mode like DeX, but you could actually run it on the device itself. It did a lot right, but it did some things maybe not quite so good as the Fold, so it kind of was, like I said, in that middle ground. If I'm not mistaken, it also launched somewhere around the $1,500 range. Now, of course, this thing stayed in China, so you would have to import it, and then you're going to maybe tack on some additional price. But anyway, it came in a little bit cheaper than where the Fold was going to be. And of course, there have been rumors for a while now about what the next iteration, the next version of the Mi Fold was going to look like, or the Mix Fold. I don't know what's their Mi Mix Fold. I think it's just Mix Fold 2 now is what it's going to be called. And today we finally got some information. We finally got some leaks. I think that the full announcement is actually coming the day after the Z Fold 4's announcement. So August 10th for Samsung, August 11th for Xiaomi. Definitely not a coincidence. But here, let's look at some early imagery that we do have here via Ice Universe, of course. And let's look at this first. This is the Fold 3. This is the Mix Fold 2. And the only thing you can really take from this piece of imagery is one obvious thing, and it is the thickness, or maybe we should say the thinness of this Xiaomi device. It appears from this image to be much, much thinner than the Z Fold 3. But there's more than just this, because there's also a video that he has posted. And if we let this thing play forward, you're going to see one big thing immediately. That is your USB-C port. And if you are a Surface Duo user, that's going to look very familiar to you. If you're anyone else, it's going to look absolutely insane. That USB-C port is actually about the same thickness as the device. So if you want to know how thick or thin the Mix Fold is going to be, grab a phone near you, look at the USB-C port, and that's going to be about how thick this device is going to be. Extremely thick. He's actually saying it is a little over 5 point something millimeters thick. And I would actually say from that, we're definitely in that 5 millimeter thickness range, because I can look at my Surface Duo 1 that I believe was 4.8, and then the Duo 2 that's 5.5, and it looks kind of like that as well. So yeah, definitely in that 5 point something millimeters thick range. If we let this play forward a bit more, you can really see this thing is incredibly thin as it folds open. I think that's a speaker grill there as it opens up. Is there a speaker grill on the other side? Nope, just on that one there. They do a good job of opening it and hiding it in such a way that you can't see the camera bump, because that's the next thing you got to think about, right? When you have a device that is only 5.5 millimeters thick, if you have any camera module at all, it winds up being a rather thick camera bump, and this thing is likely to have a really large camera sensor. Something like the 108 megapixel that I had before is probably going to be in here again. So that camera bump, it's going to stick out of that device really, really far. That's just how physics works. Now, something to keep in mind here, when we look at something like the Fold 3, which is 6.4 millimeters thick, you may be saying to yourself, well, 6.4, 5 let's say it's 5.5. Let's say it's the same as Surface Duo 2, that's just a millimeter off, right? What's the big deal? Well, you fold the thing over, right? And not only do you fold the thing over, but if you're someone like the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold, you fold it over with a gap. So you got to take that 6.4, and then you have to double it, and then you have to add more to it because there's a gap. And if you look there, they've got this listed at 14.4 millimeters up to 16 millimeters thick. And I would imagine that's at this point here, 16 millimeters thick. It's a folding phone. You have to double it. So if this thing is truly only 5.5, maybe it's only going to be 11, 12, 13 millimeters thick, and that is going to feel significantly thinner in your hand than what Samsung has. Now, of course, thickness does not a great smartphone make. There has to be a lot more improvement here, right? The camera just was not up to par before. The software in particular, for those of us that might want to import this thing, not really great for American users. So there's a lot of improvements there to be made. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not mention the fact that I still think that cover display, the dimensions of this thing are just wildly out of whack. I think this is subpar. You can get used to it. It's okay. I think what they're doing here is way over the top. I know that, let's differentiate ourselves. I get it. I understand. But good grief, that thing is absolutely way too thin and way too tall. So I don't know if they're going to actually adjust that or not. We do have a few more leaks here via Weibo digital chat station. Again, sounds like the screen sizes are staying pretty much the same, although we might be getting, nope, don't want to install this. We might be getting 120 hertz on both screens this time. We've also heard rumors that the crease might be improved a little bit, although we don't know much about that. We also don't know anything about the internals. We have the Snapdragon 888 before, probably a modern Snapdragon chip again this time. Price is also mysterious, although we don't have long to wait. Again, this thing's probably going to be China only, so temper your excitement a little bit, but do be excited because another company has finally done the unthinkable. They have seemingly at least close to matched the Surface Duo or Surface Duo 2 in the world of thickness, something personally I did not think was ever going to occur. So that, if nothing else, is worth noting and is extremely impressive. Guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in tomorrow if you're watching this today for the full announcement, the Samsung Unpacked for the Z Fold 4 and the Z Flip 4. I should be live that morning, 9 o'clock Eastern. Be here. Or, I don't know, maybe go to work. Maybe you have a job or something and you can't be here. And that's totally fine as well. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.